The Sandwich Generation by Jamie Partington, Aaron Olson, and Elena Higgins. The Sandwich Generation is defined as a generation of people who are caring for their own parents while supporting their own children. Its members are mostly middle-aged. 71% of this group is aged 40 to 59. 19% is younger than 40, and 10% are 60 years of age or older. Men and women are equally members of the Sandwich Generation. However, women are more likely to be the primary source of care due to the fact that they usually take on more caregiving roles. Hispanics are more likely than whites or blacks to be in this situation. 3 in 10 Hispanic adults have a parent age 65 or older and a dependent child. More affluent adults with a household income of $100,000 or more are more likely than less affluent adults to be in the Sandwich Generation. Married adults are more likely to be in this category. 36% of married adults fall into the Sandwich Generation. The Sandwich Generation was originally thought to be composed of those who were part of the baby boom generation. Now that those individuals are getting older, the Sandwich Generation is composed of those born in Generation X.
Members of the Sandwich Generation who care for the elderly in their own homes are responsible for both the needs of their children and their parents. Here are a few tips on caring for your children if you find yourself among the Sandwich Generation. First, communicate with your children and prepare them for what is going on. Explain your responsibilities to them and talk with them about the adjustments that are going to be made within your household. Make sure you let them know that this new responsibility will not change the love and support you have for them. Also, be sure to create a special moment each day with your child. This may be eating breakfast together each morning, sneaking a note into their lunchbox, helping with homework, or going on a walk together. Lastly, watch for warning signs that your children are struggling with this new change to your family structure. No matter the ages of your children, you need to observe changes in behavior. A few examples may be withdrawing, acting out, isolating themselves, sleeping poorly, or abusing substances. As mentioned before, it is not just your children you are responsible for. You are also caring for your parents. Members of the Sandwich Generation need to think proactively when it comes to caring for the elderly. This allows them to avoid chaos when serious need for care comes into play. Examples of being proactive include talking with a family member about how they would like to be cared for, seeking professional advice about ability to care for the parent, and simply to encourage healthy styles of living. Next, be sure to include the family member in tasks around the home. This could be as simple as setting the table or watching the kids while you run an errand. A large part of caring for the elderly is providing assistance when it is needed. Examples of this could be reminding them to take their medication, transporting them to appointments, or helping them perform daily tasks, all of which require an investment of time. Lastly, encourage the grandparents and grandchildren to spend time together. They have a unique opportunity to live with one another, share memories, and learn lifelong lessons.
Caring for both children and elderly adults can place a heavy financial burden on the Sandwich Generation. Whether the adult is living in the home or at an assisted living center, medical expenses often exceed any government assistance that the elderly individual might receive. The average cost of living out of home in assisted living is over $3,000 a month. If this kind of expense is not an option, many families turn to volunteer organizations to help with care. Another factor that comes into play is the increasing percentages of middle-aged parents financially supporting their adult children. In 2012, 21% of parents aged 40 to 59 were providing some financial support, while 27% were the primary support for their adult children. On a larger scale, our society as a whole should be financially concerned about the shift mentioned earlier from the baby boomers to the Generation X as the sandwich generation. This means that sandwiched family members will soon be outnumbered by their elderly relatives who need care. Without a functioning relationship, it can be difficult to find the motivation to care for elderly parents. More than likely, if someone is struggling on a relational level with their elderly parents, it is due to issues that occurred earlier on in the relationship. Whether those parents used an ineffective parenting style, or a breach of trust occurred in the past, or some other harmful conflict damaged the relationship, the problems do not usually stem from caring for parents in their elderly years. It is important to seek forgiveness through individual therapy or self-actualization, so past problems do not inhibit the ability to care for elderly parents. As the roles reverse, the change in interaction between parent and child can cause an awkward tension. Elderly parents may feel frustrated about being dependent on their child that they have always taken care of, and the child may feel sad to see their parents' independence deteriorate. The sandwich generation also has children to maintain a positive relationship with. Communication and open discussion are important during the transitional time. It is important that the child, regardless of age, understands why these changes must occur. It is also important that they know they can play an important role in the caregiving process as well. Finding a special moment every day to spend with a child can help them feel more included and cared for. As long as there is one specific time each day to spend together that is consistent and routine, the child will not feel as left out. Caregiving to such an extreme capacity can bring about some emotional concerns. We can apply these concerns to role strain theory and role enhancement theory to explain why emotional stress can occur. Role strain theory states that an individual only has so much time and energy, so the more roles they have to fill, the less they can devote to each role, which causes more stress. On the other hand, role enhancement theory explains that caregivers benefit from multiple roles because those roles can act as a buffer and provide support. For example, your teenage daughter might be able to play cards with grandma while you go to the store. Role context theory is a happy medium between the two previous theories that pretty much says it depends on the context whether it is emotionally beneficial or damaging to the caretaker. Since the concept of caring for elderly parents is fairly new in our society, the need for a caregiver is often sudden, unexpected, or unplanned for. This can cause higher tension. As our culture grows to assume the idea of caregiving for elderly parents as normative, there will be more coping strategies to make the transition easier for everyone. Another emotional concern involves highly mixed emotions. Oftentimes, caregivers in the sandwich generation struggle with not lives, but wanting to do the right thing for their parents. These individuals who experience such a broad spectrum of emotions might seem like they are riding an emotional roller coaster from one day to the next.
As you have just heard, the sandwich generation faces many stressors. Here is some advice to manage stressors. First, hold a family meeting. This will allow caregivers to be supported among the family instead of a one-person role. During the meeting, you should set mutual expectations for the caregivers by taking into account the number of tasks that needed to be completed daily, weekly, or monthly. Next, communication is very important. This could take place at the family meeting where the family members are able to discuss their thoughts and feelings. There needs to be clear communication between children, parents, and elders. Asking for assistance is another crucial piece of advice. Caregivers shouldn't be afraid to search for different helpful resources. Whether it be friends, agencies, doctors, or religious groups, there is most often someone willing to help. Lastly, take care of yourself. This is not selfish. Caring for yourself keeps you from becoming worn out and allows you to better care for your family members. Try this by setting aside a set amount of personal time each day, spending time with your spouse, or getting to bed at a decent time. Although there are many concerns and stressors that fill the lives of those in the sandwich generation, a survey from the Pew Research Center indicates that adults in the sandwich generation have similar levels of overall happiness as other adults. On the graph, you can see 31% of those in the sandwich generation say they are very happy about their lives, compared with 28% of other adults. 31% of those in the sandwich generation report that they always feel rushed, compared with 23% of other adults. We would like to end by showing you a video of a family who cares for their elder. This is a father's reflection about how being a member of the sandwich generation is a hidden gift.
I feel that this period, in a way, is this sort of hidden gift. You would never think it at the moment because it's so traumatic and stressful and sad. But in the long run, the kids are being given this lesson, this life lesson in what it means to care for someone, what it means to come through for someone else.
Thanks for listening, and here are our references.